What's cracking, guys? Bruce Madsen here, your host show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football. Today, pulling up another mock draft. This one's from NFL.com, and just going over the landing spots of some of these players and seeing how these fits work for us in fantasy. While you're watching this video, let me know in the comments where you like these players to go, if these landing spots are right for the players, or if you hate them, or whatever's on your mind. Just drop it like it's hot. Also, drop me a like. Really helps out that algorithm. But with that being said, let's dig into that mock draft. Today's mock draft is brought to us by Lance Zierlein from NFL.com. Really good analyst here. Really good film grinder. I like to test my film findings off of his sometimes and just see where I'm at. Been reading his content for years. So Lance, if you're watching this video, I got mad respect for your game here. But let's dig into this mock draft here. Again, we're going to funnel through the defensive players and offensive tackles and stuff because we're only looking at the spots for fantasy, what matters to us for real. So rolling down here, 3 pick, 4 pick, we're still going defense. Defense is strong in this draft. So you IDP guys, I play a lot of IDP. I just don't do content on it. But you IDP guys, you're going to be living heavy this year. First player for us off the board is Treylon Burks to the Atlanta Falcons. Ridley, more than likely going to be gone. At least there's rumors for that. Treylon Burks, considered one of the top wide receivers in this class. A lot of people have him as the wide receiver 1. It's good to see Zierlein have him as the wide receiver 1. Kind of falls in line with the fantasy community a little bit. The draft community is sometimes a lot different. Him and Kyle Pitts together could be a good tandem. This could be good for Matt Ryan when he's on the way out. I like this. I'm very interested in this. I think this could be a good spot for him. Atlanta's going to be retooling here soon. But Treylon Burks is a good piece to help keep them going, especially on the offense. Let's move down to the next one. Sauce Gardner from Cincy. Boom, Kenny Pickett to the Washington Commanders. I'm going to mess that name up all year long and maybe next year because we went from Redskins, the football team, to Commanders. It's just hard to transition to that. Kenny Pickett. I think the last draft we covered, Pickett went to the Commanders as well. It's a really dicey spot for him. I feel like Pittsburgh or somewhere like that, maybe Denver would be a good spot for Pickett. I don't consider him as a generational talent or a bulletproof prospect. There is some good things in his game. He's a little bit mobile, got a strong arm, accurate downfield. He does have Terry McLaurin. He does have some wide receivers there. Antonio Gibson at running back may not be so bad. They also got a good defense, some good pieces on their defense for them to keep games tight and for them to shut other teams down, a run game. So there is some pieces here that can help him transition to the next level. Do I love it for fantasy? Not really. I think it's going to be a while before he starts hitting for fantasy. But he does have that rushing floor to help us out, especially if you need him to. Moving on down to the next pick here. We are going to go with Drake London to the Eagles. This would be like the 3rd wide receiver draft in the 1st round in like the last few years. Jalen Reagor didn't pan out. Got Devonta Smith there. Drake London as a flanker, contested catch guy. I don't see them going wide receiver again. I feel like they went wide receiver enough in the 1st round. More than likely, they feel like free agency might be the spot for them or later in the draft, especially when you burn 2 picks in the 1st round. Other needs need to be met. That being said, Drake London and Devonta Smith would be fun, would help Jalen Hurts for the long term, and Jalen Reagor might come back. Quez Watkins, though, has been looking good. He's got some speed. Drake London, from a fantasy football aspect, he'll be competing for targets with Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. That would be his main 2 sources of competition. I look for Goddard to get a large amount of targets for a tight end. Devonta Smith should be hovering around 20% target share or more. London long term is really going to hit in the red zone and really develop going forward, but he can be fantasy viable at the spot. And I think in rookie drafts, I think considering he'd be sharing the field with Devonta Smith, I think he'd get faded a little bit by the public, creating a value for us, which is always good. I'm game on taking him a few spots cheaper. Moving on to the next pick here, Malik Willis to the Steelers, and I love this. Him and Deontay Johnson, him and the Najee Harris, Willis slinging the rock, slinging it downfield to Chase Claypool. I think this is a good fit, an exciting option for the Steelers fans. For fantasy, Willis is a guy that you're salivating over because, of course, he's boom bust. Of course, he's rough around the edges. But if he hits, he's going to hit big. And he's got the it factor in his game. It's just if he taps into it. And you're going to want to buy in on that, put some chips on that, just see if it happens. Same thing, I was saying the same thing about Jalen Hurts when he was coming out. That if he hits, he's going to hit big, and he did hit big for fantasy. Malik Willis has the same type of upside. I think the Steelers is a perfect landing spot for him. New Orleans with Chris Olave here at 18. I feel like he's putting mock drafts together with some themes a little bit. This one, Michael Thomas to New Orleans, Chris Olave to New Orleans, Ohio State wide receiver connection. I kind of feel those vibes there. I don't love this spot for Chris Olave. I don't think Michael Thomas is going to be there forever. It's not going to be there forever. Chris Olave is really going to have to prove that he's an alpha wide receiver at the NFL level here, unless they bring someone else in. But the Saints need people. They need pass catchers, especially if Michael Thomas isn't Michael Thomas anymore. But Chris Olave and his cerebralness, his ability to break off routes, very underrated player in the fantasy community. But this guy can really sell out and become a good wide receiver at the next level. The Saints, though, iffy spot. Very dicey. The cap is not on their side. They're way under there. Quarterback has not been a blessing there. A lot of changing parts, but it could get better in the years coming. He's going to be going through this hell during his rookie and maybe second year, but things will start to brighten up going forward from there. So he may be a buy later in his career as well, maybe year 3 or so. But Chris Olave here in the first round, that's going to get people intrigued on him, and he may be a cheap first-round wide receiver to pick up. Let's move on down this board here. Garrett Wilson to the Raiders. So this is an interesting spot. Pretty much proven that Bryan Edwards isn't really panning out, at least to a level that they want them to be. Plus, they lost Henry Ruggs. They got to patch that up. This is a decent spot for Garrett Wilson. He's a very good route runner. He's very strong at the catch point. I think his cerebralness, his ability to create separation will fit well with the Raiders. I think this is an underrated spot because people are not looking at him to really be the alpha in his offense early in his career. They're going to expect him to have a lot of competition. This may allow him to fade in rookie drafts or some rookie drafts. Again, make sure you're drafting talent over situation because eventually talent, if it's strong enough, it'll rise to the top. And Garrett Wilson's got the talent. He's my number 1, number 2 mismatch with Burks. Overall, top guy in this class at the wide receiver spot, Garrett Wilson. So I don't mind this spot. Moving on down here, Matt Corral to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I kind of like this spot. They're bringing in guys at running back. They're always making changes there. They always have a stable. Mike Evans is always a good piece to throw the deep ball to. Let's see if they can get Chris Godwin back. They have some good, decent guys here at the lower part of their depth chart. Antonio Brown's definitely not going to be back there. I look for them to get some more wide receivers on the roster, especially in this draft or through free agency. But I think this is a good pair, him and Bruce Arians. A lot of people are going to be excited about that, and I think he's going to get bumped up boards in Superflex drafts. This may allow you to be able to get some of your wide receivers and running backs at a cheaper price due to that. Let's move on down to the next one, and Jameson Williams to the Dolphins, another first-round wide receiver to the Fins. Jalen Waddle And Jameson Williams stretching the field would be a nasty thing. Tua slinging the rock to these 4-3 monsters and them just running the ball up and down the field playing fast court basketball. That looks like what they would want to do if they made the selection. Jameson Williams come back from the ACL. Maybe more in the picture later in the year, but he also gives you a little bit more size. And that speed combination is really going to help out the offense. Let's move on down. I think that is it. That is it for the draft. Let me know what you think about these landing spots. Who do you want where? And we're going to be covering more mock drafts in the future. I'm going to find these top tier, these media heavy mock drafts and just go over them and keep going over them until it's blue in the face, till we're sick of it. It's draft season. We got to be in tune with the draft. We got to be in tune with what the market's going on. Mock drafts from big media is another way to get into the market, because sometimes big media catches wind of news that we'll never hear of because they're rumors or just secrets that's been told to them or whatever. They might have had somebody whisper in their ear. You never know. But sometimes you do catch that one player that bumps up in the draft. You're wondering why. Then they get selected, and then you figure out, like, hey, that someone must have been told something. But it is what it is. But I want to thank you for watching the show, sticking with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription fuels me to keep putting out this content. Every subscription matters. And again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you